Welcome to the Athenaeum, architectural masterpiece, free library for the town of St. Johnsbury, and home to one of the largest paintings in North America, the domes of Yosemite. We're here with director Bob Joly, who's graciously allowed us a private visit. Bob, you've been longtime director here at this incredible institution. Tell us its history.
Chip, thanks for asking. The Athenaeum is 153 years old this year, been here a long time, founded by the Fairbanks family of Fairbanks Scales fame. They founded most of what's most significant in the town, the St. Johnsbury Athenaeum in 1842, this institution in 1871, the Fairbanks Museum, the North Congregational Church, the South Congregational Church, and the style of this building was copied a lot throughout town. And you said public library. Public libraries are still so much needed. They're gathering places for people. It is not all on your phone. I like to say libraries are just like the internet. If you didn't have a librarian, anybody could put books in, you could take them out, you could mix them up, and you would say it's all equally good information. It's a little different than that.
Yeah. Well, and it's not just a library. It's really an art gallery and a center for culture.
When it was founded, Horace Fairbanks, though he didn't write a lot about this, he put this art collection together. There were 100 pieces, about 75 in this room, mostly oil paintings, and a few unique pieces, some micro mosaics, painting on porcelain, for the good of people in town. He himself did not go to college. He understood the value of self-education. So this was a free public library, though it was called an Athenaeum. It was not a membership library. You could come here if you were 14 years or older as a child. That was kind of progressive. You could enjoy the gallery. You could check out books. All you had to do was follow a few simple rules, and this magnificent place was here for all the residents of St. Johnsbury.
And still is. I notice a lot of people do come in and use both the resources. You have a deep collection of resources. And let's face it, it's the modern age. Everybody's doing stuff on computers. So I notice you have high-speed internet that you give the public free access to.
We do, and we were one of the first places to have a fiber optic connection in town. It was really helped by the Department of Libraries. Since libraries are cultural centers in town, people do gather. We have lots of homeschool children. We have families with children who are beginning to just becoming readers. And it really is a place where you can expect free, fast access both to the connection and to machines that are current and useful, and printing your materials, getting tax forms. It's tax season now. Things that you would expect to be available, supported by some tax dollars, but to people who can't always afford these things, this is the place to come to get that kind of free service, and it's been like that since 1871.
Yeah. Now, do you get support from the state and from the town, or do you have an endowment? How are you supported?
We do have an endowment, and this institution was entirely funded by the Fairbanks family, probably by Horace Fairbanks himself, for decades. The family finally faced some competition in the scale business. Their sole support ended for the institution. There were some pretty lean times here. Over years of frugal and careful operation, we have rebuilt an endowment. We ask the town for support every year. We're a private nonprofit corporation, not a municipal library, so we have to ask every year. We've been lucky enough to get support since 1924. So we do fundraisers, we ask the town for support, we have an annual appeal. We do what a lot of nonprofits do to keep the doors open, and for us, like everybody else, prices go up.
Yeah. Now, I get the local newspaper. I know a lot of people get their news from the internet, but I still subscribe to the newspaper. And I often see ads. You have speaker series. I noticed the chief of police is going to speak here soon, but you also have speakers who come in and talk about history and local history and things like that.
It's a big part of what we do. Originally, when the Athenaeum was founded, it was called that not because it's the fancy word for library, but because it had this gallery, it had a circulating library collection, and the second floor was a lecture hall. All three parts were equally important. Lectures were a huge part of cultural discussion and cultural education, entertainment and education, in the 19th century. And all three of those parts were equally important. We keep up the tradition of having public lectures. We have poetry series coming up in April. We will have the chief of police here. We have next week a talk about the rebuilding of Notre Dame Cathedral. So continues the great tradition of having public events always free to the public, and a variety of things. Hundreds of programs a year for children, lots and lots of programs for adults, and it's just continuing the tradition that's going on since 1871.
No, you do a fabulous job, and you're a gift to this town, so we thank you for your work.
Chip, thanks so much.
Yeah. I'm Agent Tremper. Thanks for joining me for another episode of American Dream TV. We'll see you next time. Show me about these sculptures over here.
They're really fascinating.